Hey warriors, welcome back to the channel. People believe value comes from being kind, from being loyal, from being the person who always shows up. But here is the truth the world hides from you. Goodness is cheap, hard work is everywhere, loyalty is expected. And yet despite doing everything right, you still feel ignored, still feel underestimated, still feel like people only notice you when they need something and forget you the moment they don't. So let me wake you up. The world doesn't reward goodness, it rewards necessity. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. To be valued, you must make others depend on you. You don't rise by being polite. You rise when your absence becomes a problem no one can solve. Think of every powerful person in history. They weren't chosen because they were nice. They were chosen because without them, things fall apart. Here's the cold reality. If you can be replaced, you will be. If they can live without you, they will. If losing you doesn't hurt them, they will never respect you. So from today, your goal must change. Stop trying to be liked. Stop begging for validation. Stop giving everything without return. Instead, become dangerously valuable. Become the one they can't ignore, the one they can't replace, the one whose presence makes everything move, and whose absence makes everything collapse. Remember this, power isn't about being seen, it's about being needed. That is the Machiavellian way of value, quiet, ruthless, unavoidable. And before we continue, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I make others need me. Say it, own it, live it. Because once you become necessary, the world changes how it looks at you. People treat you differently. They fear losing you. They protect the connection. They give more than they take. You stop being a background character in someone else's life. You become the source, the power, the reason they move. And that is where true influence begins. If you are truly ready to discover the dark strategy that will make your presence a privilege and your absence a nightmare, then stay exactly where you are, because what comes next will change how the world treats you forever. Number 1. The false idea of value. Society has programmed you since childhood to believe that your value comes from being good, from being polite, from doing what everyone expects without resistance. But that belief is the reason so many people live invisible lives while those who understand power rise above them effortlessly, because there is a dangerous difference between being appreciated and being valued. And most people spend their entire life chasing appreciation, smiling when they don't want to smile, helping people who give nothing back, working hard only to watch someone else get rewarded, thinking that kindness grants respect, when in truth it grants convenience. And that's why the hard-working nice guy is always the easiest to replace, always the first to be forgotten. You need to understand a fundamental law of the real world. People do not value what is freely available. People admire what they must earn, and people fear what they cannot afford to lose. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be needed than to be loved, for love is held by a thread that can be broken, but necessity binds with chains no one dares remove." Every time you try to prove your worth through goodness alone, you shrink your own power, because goodness without leverage becomes weakness. Loyalty without boundaries becomes exploitation, and hard work without control becomes slavery. The powerful do not shout their value. They engineer situations where others depend on them for success. And once dependency exists, control follows automatically, because people will always protect what they need, even if they do not like it. Think of the moments when you gave everything for people who gave nothing back, when you were there for everyone else but nobody was there for you. That happened because you believed that doing more makes you matter more. But in reality, it just made them realize they could take from you without consequence. You have been trained to seek approval, to fear rejection, to think that being useful is enough. But usefulness is temporary. Usefulness is replaceable. Usefulness can be copied, and in a cold world driven by self-interest, the one who can be replaced will always be ignored. True value begins the moment people feel the pain of imagining life without you. And that happens only when you stop trying to be everything for everyone and start becoming something specific that people cannot function without. This is your shift. No more free kindness. No more endless sacrifice. No more silent suffering hoping someone notices. From now on, every action you take must raise your price, must increase the cost of losing you, must elevate your presence into a necessity. If you continue living for approval, you will die feeling taken for granted. If you begin living for power, the world will be forced to acknowledge you. And before we move to the next lesson, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments and claim your transformation. I refuse to be replaceable. Number 2, the dependency law. If you want real power, you must stop running after approval and start building dependency, because people only protect what they rely on. And the moment your existence becomes tied to their progress, their comfort, their status, or their survival, you shift from irrelevant to irreplaceable, and that is where influence begins. Understand this. Dependency is not about manipulation. It is about positioning yourself so strategically that people collapse without your contribution. And Machiavelli once said, "The wise ruler makes himself essential. When his presence supports stability, his absence becomes feared." Most individuals chase praise or affection, hoping that someone will finally appreciate them. But appreciation evaporates the second someone more convenient appears, while dependency creates obligation, fear, and loyalty that cannot be easily broken because the cost of replacing you becomes too high. You must identify a skill, a resource, or a mindset that others need but do not possess. Then sharpen it until it becomes rare, until it becomes something they cannot replicate or substitute cheaply. Think of every powerful figure in business, relationships, or society. They are not loved because they are good. They are respected because their removal creates chaos. And that is the exact position you must secure for yourself. When you build dependency, people will come to you even if they don't like you. They will agree with you even if they disagree internally. And they will protect you even if they secretly envy you, because their own stability becomes tied to your existence, and no one willingly destroys the hand that feeds them. The tragic condition of most people is that they offer help without any structure ensuring that help will be remembered or rewarded. They give effort freely and then wonder why nobody values it. You must be smarter. Connect your actions to a return. Connect your support to gain. Connect your knowledge to relevance, so when someone benefits from you, they feel the weight of owing you, because when people owe you, they treat you differently. Suddenly your presence matters. Suddenly your voice matters. Suddenly losing you becomes a risk they do not want to take. Craft an environment where access to you is limited, where your time is not cheap, where your contributions shape outcomes. The more boundaries you build, the more valuable your involvement becomes in their eyes, and the more they will chase what was previously taken for granted. This is the dependency law. Influence is not taken, it is engineered by making others believe that without you, the future becomes uncertain. Stop giving everything away for free. Stop offering your loyalty to people who don't feel it. Stop making sacrifices that no one asked for. Instead, become the core of progress in every circle you enter. And before we move forward, comment these words with absolute conviction. They depend on me. Number 3. Invisible power. Power is most dangerous when no one sees it working, because visible force creates resistance, while silent influence creates obedience without question. And this is the kind of authority Machiavelli respected. The kind that controls decisions without ever needing to raise a voice or show strength publicly. Invisible power is when people believe they are acting freely, yet their choices align perfectly with your intentions, when they feel like they came up with the idea, while in truth, you planted the seed long before they noticed the thought. Machiavelli once said, "The greatest power is the one that moves others without being seen, and this is what the smartest leaders master." Shaping outcomes from the shadows. Weak individuals try to dominate with loudness, threats, display, and ego, but that only reveals insecurity and desperation. The more obvious your influence becomes, the easier it is for others to resist or attack it. Real control flows like air, unseen but unavoidable, necessary and everywhere, letting everyone breathe while reminding them that without you, they suffocate. When you become a quiet force inside someone's mind, shaping what they fear, desire, and pursue, they will follow you not because you command them, but because they believe your direction is their own decision. Develop the ability to read intentions before they are spoken, to recognize insecurity before it becomes a problem, to predict reactions before actions unfold. Then, position yourself as the silent solution that guides them forward, and soon their confidence will require your presence. You become part of their internal dialogue, the voice that says, "What would he do? What would she think? Should I ask them first?" And when you reach that point, you no longer have to push. They pull you into every decision themselves. Think about every environment you enter. Instead of announcing your value, observe everything, calculate dynamics, identify weaknesses, then quietly connect yourself to key outcomes. So when something works, you're the reason why, even if nobody realizes it immediately. That subtle gravitational pull is what makes others orbit around you. Don't argue, don't boast, don't over-explain. Let your actions redirect behavior until people move in sync with your vision without being told. When you become the calm strategist in a world full of noise, chaos naturally parts around you because people start trusting your direction without you ever demanding it. Influence is strongest when it feels natural, when others look at you not as a threat, but as a necessity for their clarity and advancement. Invisible power means you are not the spotlight. You are the electricity keeping the spotlight alive. Before we go deeper, mark your domination by commenting this simple affirmation: I control silently. Number 4, strategic absence. Being constantly available is one of the fastest ways to devalue yourself, because when you are always present, people begin to take your contributions, your time, and your influence for granted. And that is the trap most ambitious individuals fall into, believing that more visibility equals more respect, when in reality it often equals less. Machiavelli once said, "Too much presence destroys the perception of power. Absence reveals it." And he was warning that the art of disappearance is one of the most underestimated strategies in influence. Strategic absence is not avoidance or cowardice. It is carefully choosing when to be seen and when to withdraw, so that your presence becomes rare, precious, and ultimately feared. When you always respond immediately, always attend every meeting, always offer yourself freely, people stop valuing your attention because it costs them nothing. But when your availability becomes limited, your importance multiplies instantly, because humans subconsciously measure worth by scarcity. Step back deliberately in key situations. Do not overexpose your talents. Do not answer every call. Do not explain every decision. And watch how perception shifts. Suddenly, people begin to anticipate your input. They begin to wonder what you are doing. They begin to feel the emptiness your absence creates. And that tension alone raises your authority. You are no longer a utility that can be summoned at will. You are a variable they must account for, a presence that alters outcomes simply by not being there. Absence is a form of leverage. It forces others to act, to question, to seek, and eventually to appreciate you more than they ever did when you were constantly present. Use this wisely in every relationship, every workplace, every project. Your withdrawal creates desire, necessity, and recognition without a single word. Remember, power is psychological before it is physical. The way people feel about you determines how they treat you, and nothing shifts feelings faster than the tension created by absence. Let your silence work like gravity, pulling attention, creating anticipation, and reminding others of what they stand to lose. When your presence becomes rare, your influence becomes undeniable. Do not mistake being liked for being indispensable. The two rarely align, and only through controlled withdrawal can you convert visibility into authority. This strategy also protects you from exploitation. Those who are used to having constant access cannot manipulate what they cannot reach, and suddenly you control the tempo of engagement. Every absence should be deliberate, calculated, and timed to maximize the psychological effect. A missed call, a delayed response, a selective appearance, each building the narrative that your presence is a privilege, not a right. Number 5. Systemic value. True influence is not about being the hero who jumps in at the last moment to save the day. It is about constructing the system so that success cannot exist without your involvement. And when your role becomes structural rather than decorative, you shift from being optional to indispensable. Machiavelli once said, "A wise man builds the machine so that he cannot be removed from its operation." And this is the principle behind systemic value, the art of embedding yourself so deeply into processes, networks, and decision-making that removing you collapses outcomes and reveals your true worth. Most people chase recognition for heroic moments, applause for visible effort, and attention for solving immediate problems. But those fleeting gestures are temporary and easily replaced, whereas designing frameworks, setting protocols, or shaping strategies ensures that your presence is continuously required, and your absence becomes costly. Start by identifying the core components of any operation you are part of. What keeps things moving? What ensures stability? What connects resources to results? Then position yourself as the linchpin, the point through which everything flows, the one whose involvement guarantees continuity and effectiveness. When people rely on the structures you created, they will naturally defer to your judgment, respect your time, and protect your role, because losing you means losing order, efficiency, and progress. Systemic value is also about foresight, anticipating bottlenecks, redundancies, and vulnerabilities, and creating solutions before anyone realizes the problems exist, so that others begin to perceive your contributions as invisible infrastructure, essential yet unobtrusive. Unlike being liked or admired, which can be subjective and temporary, systemic influence is measured by outcomes and dependencies, making you untouchable even if your personality is not compelling or your presence is quiet. The truly powerful understand this. They do not fight for fame or approval. They construct environments where removal is unthinkable, where every process, every resource, every team relies on their direction, insight, or participation. It is a form of silent domination because while others are focused on immediate victories or superficial recognition, you are building permanence, a network of interdependencies that cannot function in your absence. This is how empires endure and how organizations thrive around one indispensable figure. The system matters more than the individual hero. To cultivate systemic value, you must stop thinking episodically and start thinking structurally. Where can I create frameworks only I can operate? Where can I embed knowledge that no one else possesses fully? Where can I link my actions to outcomes so tightly that removing me creates collapse rather than continuity? This is the Machiavellian path to influence that transcends charm, effort, or visibility. Before moving to the next principle, declare this truth in the comments and internalize it. I build the system. Own it, because the world will bend to the one whose presence ensures survival, progress, and control. And that is the point where you stop being valued and start being absolutely necessary. Number 6. Psychological integration. Becoming truly irreplaceable requires going beyond functional usefulness and embedding yourself into the psychological fabric of those around you, so that your presence is no longer optional, but central to their sense of confidence, stability, and achievement. And when people begin associating their own success with your involvement, you move from being a valued asset to a necessary pillar. Machiavelli once observed, "It is not enough to be present. One must become entwined with the very identity of others." And this insight reveals the depth of influence that ordinary power seekers often ignore. Psychological integration is subtle, strategic, and invisible. It means your guidance, advice, or support becomes internalized by others so deeply that they cannot imagine decisions or progress without your input. It means that your absence triggers unease, uncertainty, and hesitation, and it means that your opinions, priorities, and habits shape the mental landscape of those you influence. Most people operate on surface-level influence. They help, they advise, they instruct, but once the person or group realizes they cannot maintain equilibrium without you, you have entered a realm of authority far stronger than any title, accolade, or reward. Begin by understanding their needs, fears, ambitions, and insecurities. Then position yourself as the stabilizing force that alleviates their doubts, amplifies their strengths, and directs them toward outcomes they secretly desire but cannot achieve alone. When you consistently link your presence to their emotional and practical security, you cultivate dependence that feels natural, inevitable, and even comforting. This is why some individuals command loyalty without threats, obedience without orders, and influence without visibility. They have been woven into the identity of those they guide. Your integration should be strategic. Be the one whose judgment shapes plans, whose insight guides reflection, and whose involvement becomes the measure against which progress is judged. You are not controlling by force. You are controlling by becoming the internal framework of decision-making, so that people act in ways that align with your objectives, even when you are silent. The danger for most is failing to recognize that influence is often more powerful when invisible and psychological than when overt and mechanical. Those who cannot integrate themselves are replaceable, no matter how skilled or admired they are. Psychological integration also safeguards your position. When you are entwined with self-image, ambition, or perception of success, removing you risks not only operational disruption, but also emotional disorientation, hesitation, and regression. And that creates a level of indispensability few ever achieve. To master this, observe, listen, and position yourself so that others associate competence, calm, and opportunity with your presence, while quietly limiting access so that absence creates tension and appreciation. Before proceeding to the next principle, anchor this skill with a personal affirmation in the comments. I am their foundation. Repeat it, embody it, and remember that once your identity aligns with theirs, you stop being merely valued and start being profoundly needed. And that is where true, untouchable influence begins. Number 7. Control of hope. The most powerful people are not those who dictate actions through fear or authority, but those who control the future people aspire to. Because hope drives behavior, shapes choices, and motivates effort. And when you become the source of someone's belief in improvement, progress, or success, you shift from being a participant in their world to being the architect of it. Machiavelli once stated, "Whoever commands the expectations of others commands their actions." And this principle reveals the subtle supremacy of controlling hope. The ability to link yourself to someone's perception of opportunity so that their forward momentum depends on your guidance, your insight, or your approval. People are naturally driven by visions of what they want, but most never stop to consider who shapes those visions. And if you position yourself as the gateway to those aspirations, they will align with you instinctively. Follow your advice unquestioningly and protect the connection that preserves the possibility of achieving their desired outcomes. Unlike coercion, which creates resistance, controlling hope creates voluntary alignment. Individuals move toward what they want, believing it is their own choice, while in reality, their path is influenced entirely by your presence, advice, and strategic positioning. To achieve this, first identify what people truly aspire to: recognition, advancement, security, or influence. Then position yourself as the indispensable facilitator of that progress, the person whose access, guidance, or approval determines whether their goals can be reached, and gradually your involvement becomes inseparable from their vision of success. This requires a delicate balance. Too much control makes you a tyrant, too little leaves you irrelevant, but the right amount ensures that people are motivated to act in ways that serve both their desires and your strategic objectives. When you hold hope, you hold leverage. Disagreements become manageable because no one wants to jeopardize their chance at progress. Loyalty is earned without threats because people fear losing opportunity, and influence extends far beyond immediate presence because the promise of improvement binds them psychologically to you. The danger for those who underestimate this principle is that they focus on power through visibility, confrontation, or immediate rewards, neglecting the longer-term strategy of becoming the source of ambition itself. And that is why many capable individuals remain replaceable, while a few unseen architects guide entire organizations, movements, or relationships without ever forcing compliance. Controlling hope is about patience, foresight, and subtle alignment. You do not announce your role, you embed yourself within dreams, aspirations, and plans so thoroughly that removing you from the picture threatens not just outcomes, but the belief in possibility itself. Number 8. Disappear at your peak. The ultimate demonstration of power is not in constant presence, constant action, or endless visibility. It is in knowing when to step away while your influence, reputation, and authority are at their highest, because disappearance at your peak transforms presence into legend, scarcity into demand, and respect into reverence. Machiavelli once observed, "He who vanishes at the moment of greatest strength makes his name immortal," and this insight captures the paradoxical strategy of absence. The idea that leaving while others depend on you most ensures that your influence lingers far beyond your physical presence. Most individuals fail to appreciate this. They exhaust themselves, overextend, and reveal every skill, leaving nothing for mystery or anticipation. And when they fade, it is unnoticed because they never created tension around their absence. Strategic disappearance is different. It is deliberate, calculated, and timed to maximize psychological impact. It is the art of making your absence felt like a vacuum, a void that everyone recognizes but cannot fill. When executed correctly, people begin to mythologize your contributions, overestimate your presence, and fear the loss of what they cannot replace. And that fear becomes a silent form of control, because they will adjust behavior, decisions, and priorities around the memory of your involvement, even without your return. This strategy works across relationships, organizations, and social dynamics. When your power is unquestioned, withdrawing creates a tension and longing, and the resulting perception elevates your influence beyond measurable skill or achievement. Disappearance at your peak also safeguards your legacy. While continuous presence risks exposure, fatigue, and diminishing impact, leaving at the moment of maximum respect ensures that your contributions are remembered as flawless, decisive, and untouchable. The key is to anticipate the psychological response, withdraw slowly with purpose, and let absence generate speculation, reflection, and acknowledgement so that when people realize what they have lost, admiration intensifies and your reputation becomes untethered from immediate action. This creates a phenomenon where your name, ideas, and influence persist in the minds of others, guiding behavior indirectly and silently, because humans naturally elevate scarcity into value, and the memory of what once existed exerts as much power as what exists now. Many fail because they confuse withdrawal with avoidance. Strategic disappearance is never about hiding out of fear or uncertainty. It is about exerting influence through timing, perception, and anticipation, and understanding that the most potent form of authority is the one that lingers in absence, rather than being constantly demanded in presence. By mastering this, you convert respect into awe, attention into longing, and utility into legend. Now that you understand the ruthless architecture of value, it is time to integrate these principles into every aspect of your life, because knowledge without action is powerless, and influence without strategy is meaningless. The world does not reward kindness, effort, or loyalty. It rewards necessity, and the individuals who understand this become untouchable, not by force, but by design. You have learned that being liked will never make you indispensable, that dependency, invisible influence, strategic absence, systemic integration, psychological embedding, control of hope, and disappearance at your peak are the true currencies of power. Begin applying these lessons deliberately. Make yourself essential. Embed yourself in the structures and minds of those around you. Control the aspirations they pursue, and withdraw when your presence has reached maximum impact, because mastery of perception, scarcity, and influence transforms ordinary existence into strategic authority. Remember, the people who dominate the world are not always those who work the hardest or speak the loudest. They are the ones whose absence is feared, whose involvement is critical, and whose vision shapes the choices of others. Every action you take from this moment must elevate your necessity, increase your leverage, and secure your irreplaceability. Stop chasing approval, stop giving without calculation, and stop being replaceable. Instead, craft a presence so rare, so valuable, and so entwined with outcomes that losing you becomes unthinkable. And as you implement these strategies, I want you to take one final step. Like this video, share it with those who need to understand real influence, and subscribe to the channel to continue sharpening your mind with ruthless, unshakable truths. Leave in the comments your affirmation for this transformation. I am dangerously valuable. Say it, own it, live it. The world will now see you differently, respect you automatically, and fear what they cannot replace. You are no longer optional. You are essential. You are untouchable.